Welcome to another episode of the Stoic Trading Psychology Podcast, traders. I wanted to do this podcast today because right now we are experiencing some unpredictable markets as the headlines today are about Donald Trump's tariffs at the time of recording. You know, the S&P is down over 10% at the time of myself recording this video or this podcast. So things are pretty uncertain at the exact time of recording this podcast. Now, if you guys are watching this future, things have either kept going down or, things have gotten better and we have recovered. Now, me personally, as somebody who likes to invest long-term in indexes, this is viewed as a basically a time for it to dip by. And as I'm talking right now, the stock market is now down over 11.5% of recording this video. It literally just jumped that much that quickly. So it is really not looking great for the stock market right now. Obviously, the reason right now is because of the tariffs brought on by Donald Trump. Now, I never get into politics pretty much in real life at all, and especially not on my channel or on my podcast or anything. So I'm not going to say if Trump is good. I'm not going to say if Trump is bad. What I will say is I don't trust any politician, no matter who it is. That's all I'm going to say. And at the end of the day, for trading, it doesn't really matter as much. Now, obviously, things are tanking due to the tariffs. I can't even really sit here and explain why that is. Clearly, people, are panicking due to that. I cannot deny that. And, with trading in markets, people often are looking for certainty. And that's just something that you can't really get when you are trading. And then this all ties into our Stoic philosophy when it comes to trading of we need to focus on what we can control, what we can risk, our reactions, our routines. Do we need to change something? Do we need to stop trading during this time when Donald Trump is doing all of these tariffs and all that stuff? Maybe that's what you need to do. It's really all dependent on how you are and what your strategy implies, I guess you could say. So there are things you might need to change, and that is fine. And just, to clear the waters here and just to make everything very clear to you guys, I am also in a drawdown right now. I was down over 5% just from the tariffs alone. So it was a bunch of losses in a row. I will admit maybe one of them, maybe two of them could have been avoided. I could have probably pulled an order, but something has come up in my life, and this is just a real life event where my wife and I, we gave birth to our first child basically 2 weeks ago. So it's clearly a huge change, and we've had tons of company over to our house to meet our kid and everything. So my life has kind of been crazy. I've never experienced this as a trader. I've never experienced it in general, and I've never experienced it as trading. So I was definitely distracted, definitely having some beverages, I guess you could say, to kind of celebrate and everything, and I just kind of got sloppy, and it's completely my fault. I could sit here all day and say, oh, it's Donald Trump's fault, and obviously, why is the market going down? It's because of the Trump tariff thing. Apparently, that's what clearly is happening. So is it his fault? Yes, at the end of the day, that's why price has gone so crazy and parabolic. But at the same time, I'm not going to blame him. There's no point in blaming him. Again, I could have pulled a couple orders, but my life situation come up, and I think you guys can understand that. That's probably why I probably could have avoided a couple of losses, but I'm not putting myself down about it because of the situation that happened, right? If everything was normal and I was just letting it ride anyways, maybe I could blame myself a little bit more. But at the end of the day, life happens, and it happened to me. And sometimes like this, the markets are uncertain like this sometimes, and we get crazy moves. Over my five years of trading, I haven't really seen this too much, I'll be honest with you. I've maybe seen this a couple times. I can't even really tell you what times. A lot of it was during the pandemic and all that stuff. And I remember I was watching the price chart live when oil went negative prices. That was an insane thing to watch live. I'm like, what the heck is going on? But that was wild. But again, we're experiencing these muddy waters right now due to the tariffs. And it's just a great reminder that external events can shake sentiment in a matter of, minutes, really. So you have to have your stop losses in place. I've mentioned it before. I've mentioned it to the members in the Discord group. You guys cannot be blowing accounts right now. Just because the markets are this crazy does not mean that you should be blowing your accounts. It definitely means that you could be in a drawdown, right? I've said it multiple times. I'm in a drawdown right now. I did get one winning trade today, so that's, I'm climbing my way back up. I've told the members I'm not doing anything different. I'm not risking more than my normal 1% now to try to quote unquote get it back. I'm doing air quotes right now in my office. Get it back, right? I'm not trying to do that. Am I trying to get it back? Yes. Am I going to try to do stupid things to get it back? No. I'm going to continue to trade the exact same way I did, not doing anything stupid as far as risk management goes, and just get it back in the long run. I could be even experiencing an even larger drawdown, because that happens as well in your trading where you have, some bad months. So I could maybe win 3 trades here, cut that drawdown back a little bit, and then experience another, just a normal, typical drawdown that you will experience in a game of probabilities. So I'm reminding myself, it's a stoic thing to do, is remind yourself, hey, this can happen, right? And it reminds me of when we gave birth to our kid. There's just so many times where things were looking bad and then things were looking good. Not super bad or anything. I'm not going to get into detail either, but there's times where I was trying to calm my wife down and say, look, we can expect this to happen. So when it comes, it's going to be upsetting, right? I have a 5% drawdown. It's upsetting, but I'm not, I kind of expected it to happen, and I'm not going to lose my mind about it, right? So this whole podcast, I guess, I don't know what the title is going to be. I guess probably something navigating muddy waters during, crazy events like this. And this, a lot of the times, is we experience emotional triggers in these events, and that's why you see those spikes ups and down, and it's very difficult to predict. You guys know I'm a supply and demand trader, and a lot of the times the zones end up just failing because of the just massive sell-offs and stuff, right? And a lot of that's like the headlines, and people are definitely overreacting, and I'm sure there's probably some false narratives as well. It doesn't really matter to me why the moves are happening. It's more about the fact that they are happening. We cannot control the moves. So somebody might say, oh, why is price pulling back? I don't know this exact reason, and it doesn't really matter. We're just going to continue to trade. If you trade using, fundamental analysis, I don't personally. If you do, that's fine. Then you might have to be analyzing things. For me personally, as a technical trader, all I can do is maybe pull some orders from the markets. Maybe during these times you should be, there's many options. I'll go over them now. So, one, you could just not trade, right? I mean, nobody really wants to do that. So you could just not trade at all for a week, especially if you've maybe gone. So for me personally, I'm fine with a drawdown. I've experienced it enough in my 5 years of trading that, I can handle it. I don't need to stop trading for a week because, I'm on tilt or something. Maybe if I had another bad week this week, maybe I'd take a week off and just spend some time with the family and relax. But, for me personally, with an experienced trader, I don't need to do that. But maybe somebody as a beginner, if you're experiencing this drawdown, if you are on edge and you are getting angry, take a week off. Who cares? Like, the market will always be there. Maybe that'll prevent you from more losses. Could it also prevent you from getting it back? Sure, but you really don't know. And if you are going to get mad and frustrated, just take a week off. So that's one option. You could just not trade at all for like a week, or give yourself a certain amount of time. You can trade less, right? I mean, I don't know how you could do that. It really depends on how you're trading anyways. But maybe you could trade less, meaning if you're day trading, maybe you day trade from, 9 a.m. and you day trade the whole session, right? Maybe you take a little break at lunch like a lot of people do. I don't day trade, but maybe you take a little break at lunch and then you trade the whole session after lunch all the way to the close. I'm talking New York time. Just adjust this for whatever session you're trading. Maybe you only trade half the session. Maybe you only trade from the morning till lunch this week, and you just take the half off to just, limit the uncertainty and limit the potential room for disaster based off of all the fundamental stuff that's coming out. That's another option. So we have 1, don't trade. 2, we have just trade less. 3, you could risk less. So if you usually risk 1%, you could risk 0.5%. Or if you usually risk 2%, you could risk 1%, or whatever you want to do. If you usually risk 0.5%, risk less. Risking less it's not real. It could definitely make a difference. If you're a losing trader, risking less is only going to make you lose slower. If you're a winning trader, risking less will only make you win slower. So there are pros and cons. There's no free lunch, but risking less, the real reason behind it is to basically just limit your stress on the trade, right? If you're really stressed out, worried about what Trump's going to say next, then just have less money on the table. Now, when I risk 1%, that money, I'd never talk about money or P&L or dollar amounts in my group or anytime, because it doesn't really matter. Trading is a percentage game, and I also don't want to be like, oh, I made 3%, which could be $10,000 for me. You guys don't know. And I don't want to make people feel bad saying, oh, another trade in the group, they made 3%, but that 3% is only $100, mine's 10 grand or whatever. I don't want to make people feel bad. That's why I don't talk about that. But anyways, I just kind of went on a rant there. But so I kind of lost my train of thought. But anyways, back to that's what you could do. You could just risk less. It's a very simple way to just take a little bit of stress off of your trading, and these are times where you could experience those drawdowns we talk about that are just normal, right? If you just use ChatGPT, it's a great tool. You can type in let's say you're looking for a certain risk to reward. Let's just say 2-to-1 risk to reward. Let's say your win rate's like 40% or something like that. You can type that into ChatGPT. You can ask ChatGPT, over 1,000 trades, what is the average drawdown I could expect to see? How many losers in a row could I expect to see that's normal while still making a profit in the long run? And it will break down different scenarios for you. And it really is a great tool to just to see it, right? I mean, there's seeing it and there's experiencing it. I've done both. I've seen it and I've experienced it. So I'm kind of used to it now, like going through a drawdown. But if you see it on ChatGPT and it kind of shows you what you could expect, it just reminds you when you do experience those drawdowns, hey, it's okay. The next win's around the corner. We're going to get it back. I don't need to do anything crazy. I don't need to change my strategy. We're going to get it back. It's just going to be a matter of time. So those are things you can do to combat these market uncertainties. I personally, I don't want to not trade, right? If there's no zones, I won't trade. That's just how I trade. If there's no setups according to my plan, I will never trade. If there's no setups ever again, I probably will never trade, or I'd at least switch strategies. But there's always going to be supply and demand zones. So I'm not trying to say I'm just going to take trades no matter what, but I'm not going to change up anything. If anything, what I would do is I would just risk less, and I'm not even personally doing that. But that's just something you could do if you are struggling, because again, we're all at kind of different stages in our trading psychology journey. I'm with 5 years experience, I'm probably going to be better at it than somebody who just started trading, right? So again, these macro events, they're important to keep an eye on, I guess. It's more important to just remember that they could happen. So again, you could be risking less, but we're not going to try to predict what Trump's going to say, how the market's going to determine what happens. And we need to just execute our plan regardless of what he says. Who cares? Now, if Trump's about to speak at let's just say he's going to speak at 11 a.m. and then price is right at a demand zone or right next to your entry, you're just right there. Maybe you might want to pull that order because, we could see those big emotional candle spikes, and it might just blast through your technical analysis based off of emotion, not respect the technical analysis based off of the emotion. So it might be best to pull that order. But let's say your trade is pretty far from where your entry is, or let's say price is pretty far from where your entry is, and he's about to talk, where a spike wouldn't really affect that entry. It might actually spike up, wick you in, and then spike down based on emotion, right? Then you might be able to not just let the trade play out and execute your plan regardless of what Donald Trump is saying, or regardless if he's speaking or not. But there are different things you need to do, and we need to accept that randomness is going to happen. And the great thing about the Stoic philosophy according to trading too is these are uncertain waters, and this is just like Stoic quote, but in uncertain waters, your plan is your compass, right? So And there is definitely a power in staying consistent when the world isn't. This is probably a lot of the times where people are going to give up. And this is a time when you shouldn't give up. I had one of the members in the group, they must have been trading without a stop loss, and looks like their account was blown, or they were trying to do a funded account and it was blown. And that's on them, right? That's because they were clearly not trading with a stop loss. I'm telling you right now, if you do not have a stop loss in these markets, you are going to get destroyed. And there's no ifs. The market will definitely humble you. So you need to remain calm during these market conditions. And again, this is just going to come with time. This is great. This is great experience for traders. If you want to become a professional trader, a profitable trader, this is great experience to have right here. So view this as a learning session. If you've lost 10%, even if you've blown an account and you want to continue, use this as an amazing learning lesson of things that you can do, for next time. And we need to just hold strong. This time should pass, right? Could we keep dropping? Sure. If you're an investor, then that's fine. We're going to keep dropping, and you can just continue to buy the dip, and price will probably recover. And actually, as I'm talking now, a quick little update on the S&P. We have now recovered all of those losses somehow. We are literally in the last 5 minutes. I'm just looking at my chart right now. Well, in the last 5 minutes, we've gone up like 2% almost. This is absolutely crazy. So it just goes to show you that things can go down quick. Things could also go up quick. You could buy the dip on a stock that you like, and then all of a sudden you're up 25%, and then you take a little bit of money off or whatever you got to do, right? So there's things to look forward to as well. And again, like I said, we have to view this as a learning lesson. And if you've lost money here, great. If you made money during this, ask yourself, how'd you make money doing this? Did you take insane risk? So for somebody who said they blew their account, I would, respectively criticize them. Oh, you should have had a stop loss in place. That would have prevented you from losing your account. Also, somebody who made a bunch of money on the drop, let's say I made 40% on this drop. I would ask, okay, well, how much did you risk? And what did your entry look like? Did that entry follow your plan? Because that's pretty crazy, right? So, but if somebody took just a clean setup, and then it just happened to be short the S&P or whatever, and it was a clean setup that it followed their plan, and they made that much, then it would make sense, right? So there's different. Not everything is black and white. That's kind of what I'm trying to get at as well. But I think I've pretty much talked about everything I've wanted to talk about today. Again, guys, I'm just trying to encourage you: do not give up. These are uncertain times. If you're going through a drawdown, that is normal. Drawdowns like this are normal on just a regular, trading market condition as well, right? There's nothing that we can, do about it. And again, it's all about focusing on what we can control, which is, again, our risk management, whether that's your trading or not, whether that's you're risking 1% or less. We can control our reaction to when we lose, to when we win. And again, we're not going to not be upset, but we just can't be losing our mind and revenge trading and doing stupid things. And then again, we can control our routine, which is, if you're trading too much, stop trading. Maybe there are times where if you're over trading, you don't want to be over trading during these times, because it could definitely lead to very problematic things of over trading when you're trying to get it back because you lost. And getting it back usually doesn't ever work well. Anyways, guys, that is going to wrap it up. As always, if I'm not sure how people are finding these podcasts, maybe you already watch the YouTube channel and then you're coming here. Maybe you've watched. Let me know how you guys are finding these podcasts. Maybe you're just finding them from knowing me from YouTube or whatever. And make sure you share them with friends and people who are struggling. Anyways, guys, take care. I will see you in the next one, and maybe in the next weekly Forex forecast on my YouTube channel at FX Telepath. Take care.